Sports fans anywhere can earn a nationally recognized degree from Penn State. Online. Whether you're starting or finishing your degree, study where and when it's convenient for you. Choose from more than 125 programs to become a top prospect in your field and advance your career. Learn more at worldcampusinfo.com. Penn State World Campus, a world of possibilities. Online. Visit worldcampusinfo.com today. That's worldcampusinfo.com.
It is Mike and Mike in the morning. A girthier Mike and Mike.
Well, there you go.
Here on ESPN Radio and ESPN2, we're presented by Progressive Insurance. Phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. And you can tweet us on the 1-800-Flowers.com Twitter feed at ESPN Golic, at Golic Jr. 57, although we're going to have to institute some strict policies this morning based on the proceedings last night.
And one of the first tweets I got already from Daniel said, chances that ESPN Greeny and ESPN Golic are hosting this morning. 0.1%, 33%, 66%, 99%. You forgot 0% because he's not hosting today.
Yeah, no, you'll take the 0 on that one right now. Better chances, though, of you today getting a view of the solar eclipse.
Let me tell you.
And that's really where we're going to start. Today is an entirely eclipse-dedicated show in my mind.
Yeah.
The staff has already come together on this, except for Travis. We've got one odd man out, and of course it's Travis.
Well, Travis is the odd man out on pretty much everything. He is the odd man to the show. But it is the eclipse. It is all. We have stuff that, listen, there are sports to talk about. We got Herm Edwards coming on, Bomani Jones, Stu Gotch, Reese Davis, a whole bunch of stuff. So week 2 of the preseason football just went on. We'll get into that. But there are a few things to get into today. You were at a John Mayer concert last night. You had a baptism this weekend, which is another, and something that happened to that is something where you're killing, you millennials are killing everything else.
We're hired hitmen.
Yeah, we're going to get into that.
If you need something killed, just call. You know where to find it. We're like the faceless men. Just present the coin.
Well done. And that's another thing. No Game of Thrones spoilers this morning.
Yeah, so can we get that out of the way right now before we get into Eclipse stuff?
Because I saw Game of Thrones last night.
You saw Game of Thrones. You're fully aware of what's going on. And there's been a lot of stuff. There's been a lot of stuff leaked on it through the interwebs that I have a big-time problem with. If you're one of those people that watch the leak, you got to do some soul searching because you're a monster. But this weekend, I was out of town. I was at a baptism. Kyle Rudolph, his daughters, one of whom is my goddaughter, went out there, baptized these kids up.
Right.
Got back Sunday night.
Baptized these kids up.
Yeah, we went out there and baptized them. Original sin stood no chance this weekend.
Well, there you go.
Beat it back down to the depths of hell. But so I come back in town, and I had, in an altered physical state, bought a pair of John Mayer tickets for last night.
You were drunk one night, and you bought 2 tickets.
I got drunk. It seemed like a good idea, and I bought a couple of John Mayer tickets.
There you go.
That's basically what it amounted to. And so last night, I go to John Mayer, check that out, and I get back home, and it's a little too late knowing I'm going to come in and do this show to really get anything done otherwise. Game of Thrones is an hour and 15-minute episode last night, so I thought, okay, I'll watch it this morning. So I haven't been on Twitter since 7:30 last night. I'm putting an embargo on social media.
You got to do this show, and then you got to go do a college roundtable.
Yeah, on SportsCenter after the show.
Right, and then so you have to make it all that time before you go home and seclude yourself and watch it.
Exactly, but my point is that I am staying out of social media until then. I have vacuum sealed myself in this room, so the only people that can ruin it for me are in this building, and really Travis, because he's doing social media this morning.
Right.
So he's got that power, and I've told Travis I'll beat him to within an inch of his life if he puts any sort of spoiler tweet in here.
Golic Hammer always wins.
Yeah, that is true. We've got 2 Golic Hammers on set.
Yes,
today.
we do.
Nice.
So that would really hurt Pickler. But you said it. We're going to get to off the top and some of the things that went on in sports. But the eclipses today, it's unreal. This thing. I was in Colorado, in Denver, in Loveland, actually getting another stem cell procedure done on my shoulder at Premier Regenerative. I can never say that word.
Regenerative?
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 It regenerates. Premier Stem Cell and Wellness Center.
Yeah. Warjanowski.
So, well done.
Nailed it.
But I was out there getting this done. By the way, fantastic. It has been great for me. But going out there are signs everywhere on the roads about the congestion from the traffic because they're close to Wyoming. I guess Casper, Wyoming, you're 100% in the path. You get 100%. What's the term that
path of totality?
The path of totality is 100%. But so the hotel I normally stay at sold out. There was on the morning, Friday morning, when I got up there, the local news guy was at the hardware store talking about the new glasses they just got in because all the other glasses has sold out. And you and I have both agreed that the one person in our house that we have to remind to get glasses today is your sister, Sydney. My lovely daughter, Sydney. Sydney, if you want to look at the eclipse, you need some glasses, okay?
Do you, though?
Yes, you do.
Are you sure?
Put the glasses on.
Are you sure this isn't like a ploy by big glasses?
Don't start going down that millennial killing everything road.
I'm just saying, like, how do we know we really need glasses? Like, does someone look up and make – I want a firsthand account from someone who's looked into an eclipse sun. Now, this would be a little while ago. The last eclipse was, something like what?
1979.
1979, so it's been a while.
So it's everybody except for Rusty, who, my compatriot here working one of the cameras, was none of you were born in 1979, the last time it was in the U.S. There's actually some fun facts. The eclipse, actually, there's an eclipse every 18 months on the Earth somewhere.
Yeah. Neil deGrasse Tyson came with that heat the other day on Twitter, kind of reminding people of that, taking a little edge off, because while I'm here for the Eclipse Twitter is an interesting place. Like, you heard what happened with Priscilla, right?
Oh, yes, I did.
Planned an entire vacation around going to Jackson Hole, Wyoming, forgetting the eclipse was this week.
Which, by the way, we were all in Jackson Hole. It's a fantastic place to go.
Awesome place to have a trip. I wanted him to experience it.
All of a sudden, $100, $150 room is $800. I mean, it's crazy everywhere. It's unbelievable. I heard, who did your show this morning?
Mo Eggert.
Mo Eggert was talking about money lost for productivity at work, talking about like after the Super Bowl, when people are talking about the Super Bowl water cooler stuff.
Which you get, yeah.
I understand.
Huge event.
Quite honestly, productivity loss talking about Game of Thrones today for people at work. They said for the 20-minute period today, $694 million will be lost in productivity. I don't know how you figure that stuff out, but it's a big number, so I thought I'd throw it out there. I don't know how much I buy into that, but there are going to be a lot of people not at work looking at this eclipse, hopefully with your glasses on.
So, the solar eclipse will cost America almost $700 million in lost productivity. Wait, what was this? Put the one back up before. They had something on the screen. Man who was left partially blinded by 1963 eclipse offers warning. 20 seconds is all it took.
There you go. Put the glasses on. Don't anybody be a hero and wonder, am I really going to go blind? Don't do it.
It just seemed like one of those places. That's an easy cash grab to tell everyone, oh, by the way, it's like tuxedos for weddings. I've often said that industry feels like a sham, because what is a tuxedo but a fancy overpriced suit for one, basically, weddings, proms, very few other things. They're just stealing cash from you. Eclipse glasses seems like an easy place to do that. Like, take these glasses or else you're not going to be able to look at this sweet sun.
The man just said he went blind.
Every time we go to an eye doctor now for an exam, they dilate your eyes and look in there. The first thing they say is, you looked at a solar eclipse sometime in your life, he said.
See that? See, believe it. Wear the glasses. Buy the glasses. Wear the glasses. And by the way, 79 was the last time in USA. We only have to wait 7 years for it to come back again. There'll be another eclipse in 7 years, but it'll only be between New York and Texas, which, of course, brings up what? The East Coast bias.
Of course. Listen, do eclipses have East Coast bias? Wait for my column coming on Tuesday. The last time a solar eclipse swept the whole width of the United States was 1918.
1918.
That's a wide eclipse.
All right, that is a wide eclipse. So we have a lot of eclipse stuff to go on today because, listen, everybody's doing it. I know here, and I think there's an app where you put in your area code and it'll tell you how you'll see the eclipse. Like here in Hartford, Connecticut, I believe it starts at 1:25 in the afternoon.
Yep.
And it at 2:45 is the total eclipse.
Maximum eclipse.
Boy, now would have been the time for the song.
I got you.
Thank you.
Now there's only love in the dark.
Nothing I can say.
Total eclipse of the heart.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we were looking for there.
Feeling real good. That's what we were looking for there.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So 2:45 here in Hartford is the total eclipse, and the whole thing lasts for a couple hours, but, obviously when it starts to finish. So that's what we're looking for here. Obviously, look in your area for it as well. But I think it's a pretty cool thing.
I think it is, and unless you're Nick Saban, and then you want to just watch it on the Weather Channel or on one of those apps. Nick Saban actually a little more hip to the app scene, I guess.
Yeah, and you're going to make sure if his players want to see it, that they have the glasses, but he'll be in a coach's meeting.
Well, you saw the Tennessee Titans are actually having an eclipse party at the end of practice.
Cool.
Mike
Why
Mularkey
not?
is giving him like 7 minutes at the end of practice. It's going to be music, glasses, strobe lights, the whole works. He gets it.
I think that's a cool thing.
Honorary millennial. We'll give him that
There
one.
you go. All right. What do you say we do?
But first, for right now, we'll do off the top.
Off the top.
Yeah, hit the button. Giancarlo Stanton hit his Major League Baseball leading 45th home run of the season Sunday in a 6-4 win over the Mets. It was also Stanton's 12th home run this month after he also had 12 in July.
Yep, he is, as far as consecutive months with 12 homers, is tied a Marlins record in a calendar month. Consecutive months with 12 home runs since 2000. 2002, A-Rod did it. He had 57 home runs that season. In 2001, Barry Bonds did it, hit 73 home runs. Is he on pace still for 60 or 60? Not anymore, right? Because he went like 3 games. My God, 3 whole games without a home run. I'd love to see him get to 60 or 61.
Would be nice to see him touch that range. It's been a while since we've had something to get this excited about in the home run realm. I guess no post-Derby slump for him, unlike one of his partners.
Off the top.
But last night, the Red Sox defeated the Yankees 5-1 to take 2 out of 3 against their rivals for the second straight weekend and increase their AL East lead to 5 games. According to 538.com, Boston has an 85% chance to win the division, up from 42% just 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, you look through July 30th, they were a half game behind the Yankees. You mentioned 42% chance to win the division. 14-3 later, last 17 games, going from half a game back to now, as you mentioned, the 5-game lead. You look at the acquisition of Eduardo Nunez and the call-up of Rafael Devers, both in the lineup. Red Sox are 12-5 and have played at a level that would make them one of the best offenses in baseball. Since those 2 names I mentioned, runs per game, they're first in the league, batting average first, on-base percentage first, slugging percentage second. So those 2 have been a good addition, but this team is red hot right now.
Red hot right now and hasn't changed any street names yet, so we'll keep you up to date on all that news.
Off the top.
But as I mentioned before, a home run derby slump in the second half of the season. Aaron Judge strikes out in his 37th game to tie for the all-time record. He claimed the single-season record for consecutive games with a strikeout in his 36th game on Saturday, but Sunday tied the all-time record held by former Expos pitcher Bill Stoneman.
Yeah, back in 1971, and now you're tied with a pitcher. That's just absolutely brutal. By the way, against the Red Sox this year, Judge, his batting average is 155, 9 for 58, 25 strikeouts in 15 games against the Red Sox. So a guy that had the hot stick got figured out a little bit, obviously, the second half. Still hits the occasional dinger, but unfortunately striking out way too much.
That's kind of what happened to young players in every sport is you go through and people start to get the book on you, start to get a little bit of a body of work on you. We see it with quarterbacks in the NFL a lot.
Now how do you come back?
Exactly, which usually starts to become the measure of what kind of pro you're going to be.
Off the top.
Speaking of one pro calling it quits, wide receiver Anquan Boldin announced Sunday that he plans to retire and focus on humanitarian work. He's the 9th most receptions in NFL history with 1,076, including an NFL rookie record, 101 catches in 2003.
So 9th, as you mentioned, in receptions, 14th in receiving yards. 2015, he won the Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year. You mentioned his rookie record as well. There are 14 receivers with 1,000 career receptions. 3 of them announced their retirement in or after 2016. So as of late, Steve Smith did it, Andre Johnson did it, and now Anquan Boldin did it. 14 straight seasons with at least 50 receptions. Second longest streak in NFL history behind a tight end in Tony Gonzalez. We were talking before the show, Hall of Famer. You know, you wonder where, because you have to wait those 5 years, where he's going to be in the 5 years.
What transpires exactly? How far does he get pushed down that receptions list in 5 years? And just knowing what a difficulty it is for receivers to get into the Hall period. They tend to have to wait a little bit of extra time, and with the guys that are ahead of him still waiting, it seems like that could be some of that.
Yeah, it does. I mean, his stats are up there, you know, top 10, top 15 in some of these, but will it be there in 5 years? Is he a guy that's that bubble guy? And if he is, he's going to have to wait a long, long time if he gets in at all. So we'll see. But I remember a former running back in college, a tough receiver that would certainly drop his shoulder and run you over after he caught the ball. But as you also mentioned, a great humanitarian. He says football, you know, doesn't want to be defined by that in his life. He has a lot more to do outside of football, and that's what he's going to concentrate on.
We hear that statement a lot of times is football is what I do and not who I am. Very rarely do people live that out as well as Anquan Boldin has. So certainly wish him all the best in his life post-football.
Off the top.
And finally, we're less than than a week away from Mayweather and McGregor, which it blew me away. I didn't realize. This sort of snuck up on me, but that fight is coming up this weekend. Yeah. According to Westgate Las Vegas Superbook, McGregor is currently a plus 375 underdog to win the fight, down from plus 1,100 that he opened at. That means a $100 bet would win 375 at current odds compared to $1,100 at the opening price.
It's gone down quite a bit, right? I mean, at plus 1,100 and now plus 375. I mean, I don't understand all the gambling things of the world. I mean, I didn't really start gambling heavily till I was done playing. I'm just kidding. I gambled while I was playing.
Nailed it.
You done?
Yeah. No,
okay. All right. Why don't we end on that, and we'll continue talking about
off the top.
That fight. Yeah,
and that is Off the Top, brought to you by Zepa. Go to Zepa.com, that's ZYPPAH.com, and get a Zepa so you can stop snoring and enjoy the summer. And yeah, we can sit there for a little bit because it really was. It's been the talk of the entire summer. It's been a fight that's been largely about the build-up and the press conferences and all of these different shows in front of the media, that we've kind of always poo-pooed what the ultimate product's going to be, but based on a lot of those results and the movement in the Vegas line, we see some people are looking at that as an opportunity.
Yeah, this should be really, really interesting. I know I'm getting it. McGregor holds the world's largest grossing gate in MMA history at $17.7 million at UFC 205. Mayweather certainly has been in his share of big money fights. He holds 6 of the 10 largest grossing gates in Nevada combat sports history, including $72 million in the Manny Pacquiao fight. These guys are going to make monster. I haven't asked you. Are you buying the fight?
I am buying the fight. I think I'm going to do it with a group, though. May even go out to somewhere and just kind of do it the way I think you're supposed to do this fight, which is with a group of people with something else to entertain you, because the fight's going to be over when Floyd decides it's going to be.
That's what I was going to get to as well. I'm going to see it. I'll be in South Bend. As your mother, my wife, she's doing the Notre Dame Trail Walk, listening right now. I think she has 13-mile walk today and a 17-mile bike ride. We'll certainly talk more about that and the money she's raising. But Notre Dame 175th anniversary of Father Soren founding Notre Dame, and they're recreating those 317 miles in a walk and a bike ride. They're over 200 miles in. As I said, only one in the family could do it, correct?
Oh, only one in the family that could and would do it. Again, Mom always feels some strange sense of obligation to these things because, listen, she's a great woman, and you're going to go in for that last day and try to steal her shine because you're a monster.
I am. I'm going the last day and walking the 3 miles on that Saturday, the morning of the fight. And then as she's passed out after walking and riding for 317 miles, I'll be watching the fight in South Bend. I am definitely going to get it. So you still think all that's gone on, Mayweather coming out and acting like, McGregor's the favorite on paper when really he's just trying to sell more pay-per-view clicks. The gloves being approved for 8 ounces. It was supposed to be 10 ounces. You still think, even though the odds have come down as well, that this is over whenever Mayweather wants it to be over?
Whenever he decides it. And I've been trying to find, and there really are hard examples to find in this realm as far as relating it back to what we did in football, because I always say Floyd Mayweather is a professional. He's been doing this. You played in the NFL for 9 years. Right. You spent the bulk of your life trying to figure out, all right, how am I going to do this the best I can, working tirelessly at that one craft, trying to make sure you're as good at it as you possibly can. And that's what Floyd Mayweather's done, to the tune of being one of the greatest fighters of our generation. So to think that some guy is going to come and co-opt this skill set a couple of months out and roll into the fight and have even some semblance of a chance, to me, is disrespectful. Like, that is blatantly disrespectful to a guy that's dedicated his life to this craft.
And I've always said Mayweather has nothing to win in this but gain in this, except a boatload of money, because he's supposed to win this. So when he wins it, everybody will say, well, you're supposed to. And God forbid if he loses that thing, it would be ridiculous. So as this is the week of the fight, you'll hear from everybody. Brian Custer of Showtime said that you're never going to see another spectacle like this.
Conor McGregor's the biggest draw and the biggest name in MMA. You look at his last fight. His last fight, I think, did like 1.3 million in pay-per-view buys. And without question, Floyd Mayweather is still the biggest name in boxing, even though he had been away for 2 years. Only these two guys who have those kind of personalities could come to make this kind of fight and bring just a casual fan with it. And I think it's because of the spectacle surrounding it is the reason why the casual fan is interested in this fight. There's some people, and listen, there's some people who came up to me and said, look, I want to see Conor McGregor give him an elbow and kick him to the face. That's what I'm going to watch the fight for. Obviously that stuff can't happen, but that's the reason why some people want to watch it. And look, I'm all for rating. If that's what's going to draw you in, more power to you. Click, pay your money, and watch the fight.
And that's what it's all about, right? The casual. That's how you make all this money. You don't get just the boxing fan or just the MMA fan. You have to get the casual fan, and that's going to be the most of these people. It's going to be the spectacle, just the word that was used there, of what this may entail.
And it's got a bunch of different ways that you can be interested. Like, you can be like me and want to go in and see Conor McGregor absolutely get dismantled in the way I believe is going to happen. And he's kind of fed into that, probably knowingly along the way. We've seen the videos of him noodling, getting ready. He had that training session in front of the media where a lot of videos came out that looked a little bit ridiculous, I think purposely so in a lot of senses. You've got that. You've got the crowd that wants to see Conor McGregor take down Floyd, obviously, for any number of reasons there. I mean, listen, these are both guys that in certain aspects along the way have revealed parts of their personality that aren't exactly endearing. We know Floyd's history outside of the ring. We know some of the problematic things that Conor McGregor has said in pre-fight press conferences along the way. So it's a one where if both guys could lose, I'd sign up for that one. But at the very least, there's got to be some winner, and I ultimately believe it's going to be the guy who's actually a professional boxer.
Who do you want to win, or do you not care?
I don't care who wins. I think I would like to just for boxing, because, I mean, if he loses, there are people that say, yeah, you can sell that rematch, though, for a ton of money, and Floyd the businessman would think about that. That's a crushing blow for boxing. If that guy from that new world of MMA that's already kind of trying to push you out comes in and dethrones one of the greatest fighters of your generation, that's tough to overcome.
I completely agree. I don't think this can be a thought about a rematch and what money it could bring, because that would go about if Mayweather were to lose this thing. I agree. It would be horrific for the sport of boxing, which is already trying to regain some popularity, with some big fights out there. They're trying to gain some traction again with the casual fan. We know, obviously, boxing enthusiasts are always going to love it, but I think they even have to feel it's trying to get back again. And for Mayweather, one of the greatest defensive fighters, especially of all time, let's be honest, if he loses, it's going to be because he got knocked out. There's no losing by a decision in this Conor
one.
McGregor, and plus Conor McGregor has only gone the distance one time in his MMA career, and that's of 25 minutes. This would be 36 minutes, 3 minutes per 12 rounds. So I doubt if from McGregor's side is going to the distance, so it would have to be a knockout.
Okay, keep your eyes closed.
Okay.
I want to show you my first ever painting.
All right.
Okay. Open your eyes.
Oh, that's a lot of colors and shades.
So be honest. What do you think?
Well, I like how if you switch to Geico, you could save hundreds of dollars on car insurance.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Here, why don't I hold your paintbrush while you call them?
Geico, because saving 15% or more on car insurance is always a great answer.
Got Herm Edwards now joining us in studio.
Yes.
Giving us the Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Best phones, best networks, no contracts. And Herm, we've been talking about a lot this morning. We've got some tweets coming in right now about the Eclipse. Where are you at on the Eclipse getting ready to happen later today?
Well, I think if you're a coach, obviously, you take an Eclipse break, right, with your team. That'd be kind of a good deal to do. We're on NFL Live, actually, when it really is supposed to hit. And I think we might have to do something on NFL Live.
You should.
Maybe just leave the studio and go out at 2:45, I think it is.
So I guess the thought is you would embrace this?
Oh, yeah.
Go back to the coaching cap.
Yeah, we had some fun. Yeah, we had some fun with it. Because, the players – now, most of the players – I mean, this is preseason, obviously. You want to have some fun. Lighten it up a little bit. This is the dress rehearsal week, obviously, third week. But still, I would lighten it up and have some fun with it.
Might as well. I mean, Mike Mularkey, I know, is getting ready to do that with the Tennessee Titans. They've got like basically a 7-minute set-aside period of time where they're going to have music, the glasses.
Yeah, that's what I would do. I'd have the trainers come out with the glasses, and just come on everywhere. Because I was a big believer in – I didn't like coaches wearing shades during practice.
Right.
I'm not a shade guy, and I was wanted always coaches to look people in the eye, so that's when I would actually bring some shades out.
Yeah,
the whole team.
You would definitely want to do it for this.
Yeah, I was going to say, you got to make sure you explain it to the guys. Listen, you can't look directly up into this thing because it's been a while since the last Eclipse.
Yeah, and a lot of tweets coming in, the 1-800-Flowers.com Twitter feed. Winners in today's Eclipse event, optometrists.
Yes.
Dennis says all schools are canceled today in southeast Missouri.
Wow.
Due to the eclipse today.
Can't imagine they're going to cancel NFL Live for you guys.
No, we're going to go on. We're going live, yeah.
Thomas says you only need the glasses when the sun is partially covered, no need when it's fully covered. Thank you, Thomas.
We didn't know that.
I mean,
how about millennials killing eclipses? Jeff tweets in, all you have to do is put your phone in selfie mode, turn around, and look at your phone to enjoy the eclipse. No eye damage. Millennials fixing
Really?
The Eclipse. You don't need the glasses at all. See? Save some money, not give it to big glasses.
Wow.
Like Big Pharma?
That's the cool thing, wearing the glasses, though.
Yeah, I think so as
the
well.
whole football is wearing glasses. Yeah,
how
the
much
coaches
they
hold
cost.
it. Yeah.
So most coaches are buying into it.
Most coaches are. I mean, Herm sounds like he'd be all in on this. We had one coach decidedly out on Eclipses. Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide is not here for your Eclipse nonsense.
You know, we'll set it up so if the players want to go out there and get some sunglasses and look at it, I guess they can. That's not something that I'm really that focused on right now. You know, I watch the Weather Channel every day. They're already saying what it's going to look like in every city in America, so what's going to be significant? Just watch the Weather Channel. You see what it's going to be like in Portland, Oregon. You know, it's Clayton, Georgia is the number one place in the country to have 100%. You know, there are all kind of people there. My house will probably be the only empty house on the whole lake.
Go back to Scott.
So I'm going to watch it on TV. Maybe we should have a team meeting about how we're going to do this. I haven't thought of that yet.
Knowing Nick, they're going to go indoors for this practice. You know, they ain't got to stop practice.
Out of
keep
the
going.
equation.
Hey, the Eclipse pass by. Don't worry about it. We're going to
think he'll let his player. I mean,
he's good. He's great.
He is something. Isn't
He's working it. He's working it.
You can see it on TV, but I don't need to see it in person.
The only thing that's surprising, he hinted at the meeting there. I know coaches usually looking for any excuse to meet. The surprising that Nick Saban didn't take that. Like, all right, we're going to have a meeting. Here's a slideshow of what the Eclipse is going to look like. You guys are good. Like Herm said, practice inside.
He's going to use this. Watch. He's using this. It's good. You always turn things around when you're the coach. You know, somebody's going one way, you're going to go another way with your team. He'll have some fun with it with his players, I promise you.
I'm just sad we missed the opportunity for Nick to ask what number Eclipse was on Florida State.
Yeah. What's the scouting report?
Where's he in the media guide again? How many rushing yards he have last year?
What number is he? Exactly
if he's
right.
not on Florida State, I don't care.
I don't care what
it is.
Exactly.
So
right.
switching it now to the pro game, you just mentioned dress rehearsal week. So from a coach's standpoint, and we're all players, you were a coach then, obviously, as well for years. Third preseason game, starters play the most. What is this week like compared to the last two?
It's changed somewhat in the fact when you have these combination practices, and I think a lot of coaches are going to that even before the dress rehearsal game because that is a game where you can actually script practice. You can script situations, and the ones go against the ones. So this is why a lot of the ones now are not playing as much. Some are in the preseason, but this is the game where basically you give the team a little bit of a game plan, actually, for the young guys, too. You put in a little bit of a game plan of your opponent. You'd like to get into the second quarter and then bring them out after halftime, let them go into the third. It'll be interesting, and I've said this, with a couple of these quarterbacks, like let's just say Trubisky, Deshaun Watson, maybe even Mahomes, do you play them in the second quarter against the varsity and then bring them out in the third quarter and let them play? In some of these situations, I would lean that way, actually.
You give them some time behind that first line.
Oh, no doubt. And not only that, bring them out the third quarter and let them participate. A feel of a real game. I mean, this is like, and even on the sideline with your coaches, now you got so many players. I mean, that's always difficult. You got all these players, right? But the communication, I think, is important in the preseason as well for coaching staffs, and especially new coaching staffs. Where do the players stand when they come off the field, when you're correcting things? Is the offense on the left side? Is the defense on the – where's the quarterback? All the minutia that goes on as the game is being played, you got to orchestrate that with your coaches. How do they communicate with the head coach? How do I get to the offensive coordinator or coordinator wants to talk to me, defense coordinator? All that communication goes on as well.
And you mentioned the quarterbacks in a lot of this. I'm interested in some of those races, and we see it with Deshaun Kaiser in Cleveland as well, and Trubisky in Chicago, and even now with what we've got going on in Jacksonville with Chad Henne and Blake Bortles. How soon after this game do you want to have a decision like that sewn up? How much is this going to be a cap on that, or is this still an information-gathering process all the way to week one?
For me, this would be it, because here's the problem. The players want to know, too. They want to know who's the guy, coach. And you don't want it to be played this way, where the media is actually, asking the question.
Right.
It's done. That's the starter. Now, in your mind, you might say, okay, like let's say in Denver, if you're conflicted right now, you got to make a decision, say, this is the starter, boom. And then in the media, the next question, is he the starter all year? That's the next question.
How long's the leash?
And you just say, and now you got to say as a coach, he's the starter. Now, A lot of these guys know if you're in Cleveland, I would say Cleveland. Yeah. If you're in Cleveland, if you're in Chicago, if you're in Houston, in your mind as a coach, a lot of those starters are in pencil only, not in pen and pencil. Now, you don't have to say that, but it's like, okay, we're going to go this way. But if it kind of gets ugly and we start losing games, that guy not performing well, that young guy's going to play.
How difficult would it be, because Trubisky, Kaiser, Deshaun Watson not really playing with the first team?
Right.
So if they even don't in this game, how difficult would it be to have any of those guys jump the starter without really playing against the ones?
Well, I think in practice they're probably participating.
So it's going more, more based on that.
Exactly. And that's why I say, these combined practices, I think a lot of coaches are going to that. I can see that.
Do you like them better than the preseason? It almost seems like you get more work. Because
you do.
In preseason, it can be a three-play drive and you're done. In that, it's a 20-play drive. 3 plays, okay, take it back to the original line of scrimmage and we keep going.
Yes, and you can control the environment of how you want the tempo to go with veteran guys participating. And you can make the situations. You can say, we're going down here. Okay, my ones will go against your ones. We want to see this, coach. You can do all these things. We can say, we got a hot period going on right now. In other words, we're going to blitz, okay? Knowing if they blitz, guess what? If the guys come scot-free, you don't hit the quarterback. All those things are being done in those practices where you combine together.
Certainly a nice break for the players, too, when you're so used to going against your teammates day in and day out in camp, seeing these come up more, because it gets that competition and camaraderie where you get your guys banded together against theirs. Now we get a lot of practice fights because of it.
Yeah, well, and here's what can happen, too. And we've done a couple of these. I've done some with Tom Coughlin. Toward the end, it's the young guys. You actually play a game. I mean, you play a series of plays where it's tackle football. Mm-hmm. So you get your tackling and your live tackling in as well. Right. So you can – it's going to go to that because, look, we all know 4 preseason games is not going to continue to happen in the NFL.
Right.
They're going to cut it. The money's involved in that. That's why they haven't cut it yet, right? What do they do? Because 2 of those games are tied into the fan base's tickets now. Right. So how do you figure out where the money goes? How do you orchestrate the money that when you to cancel 2 games?
For someone in your position, undrafted free agent, I remember in New Orleans, you guys had New England come in, and that's where you got like a lot of your reps, correct?
Especially
at the end of practice, like Herm said.
Yeah, especially as training camp goes on, that rep delineation starts to side in favor of the guys that are going to be playing meaningful minutes during the season. And so you're looking for any chance you can to get on tape. And that is a great example. At the end of practice, it's young guys only on that field getting a ton of extra work in, which is extremely valuable.
Yeah, and that's important. We're all sitting here, all football guys, and we know football is a game where you have to be hardened. But what does that mean? You got to put pads on. You're actually going to have some contact to get ready to play. That's the game of football. You can't continue to say, well, we're going to just go half speed. We're not. You have to have collisions. That's football. You don't want anything to happen, but that's how you get hardened as a player.
Mike and Mike on ESPN Radio and ESPN2 are presented by Progressive Insurance, and all phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. We'll have Bomani Jones from the right time at 7:30. Stu Gotts at 8 o'clock this morning joining us.
Boy,
we'll get to see Stu Gotts as well, which will be nice. You guys do beef stew?
See Stu Gotts is nice. There's nothing nice about seeing Stu Gotts. His appearance is better by voice.
I saw a picture of me and Stu Gotts from the Fantasy Marathon last year, and he actually looks like a little bridge troll.
Yeah, he does.
He's very small and squatty.
Like. Yeah, it's exactly what it looks
like. Love Stu Gotts around here. Love Herm Edwards, though, being in studio with us here. And we were talking in the last segment about a lot of the quarterback situations going on around the NFL, and we mentioned the Jets jokingly in a tweet that we read earlier. And we saw Christian Hackenberg get a couple of chances. He got to go out there with the starters this weekend, and all of the story seems to be coming off of it that Josh McCown now by default seems to have won this job. What was your read of that situation and how Hackenberg's looked so far?
Well, I think, this is really, when you look at Hackenberg, he's an Under Armour guy, Mike.
Ooh. Oh, he is. There you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's an Under Armour guy as well. He's got some talent. We know that. The poor guy, he just, he's not accurate. And there's the problem. You have to be accurate. But he has talent. He's tough. We saw they missed the block on him. The guy came and almost, almost just knocked him out. He had a free run at the quarterback and got up and shook it off. But McCown is obviously, he's the guy that needs to play for these guys too, because we know who he is. He has a lot of veteran presence. He can make good decisions with the ball. Hackenberger's a guy that he's hot and cold.
Do they have to get him time this year to find out what they have?
I hate to say that, but yeah, you'd like to know, because McCown is like he's the guy that's holding the right. He's holding the team together this year as they go through this transformation of trying to rebuild this football team, and they need a quarterback, and you got to find out as much about Hackenberg as you can. That's the problem.
And talking about finding out about a quarterback, so much talk said about Jared Goff when he was the number one pick, and all of a sudden he's inactive for the first game and ends up starting some games, and what's it going to be like this year with a new coaching staff? Against the Raiders, he goes 16-20 for 160 yards and a touchdown. Now, again, it is preseason, but for a guy like that, Herm, who's been so beat down, by media and by the public and mentally, what does this do for him?
He confidence, and I think if you're a Ram fan, if you're a Ram football player that has been there, you're going, wow. I mean, he looked like, okay.
Look like a pro quarterback.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's like, really? And I was watching it, watching the games, and I was going, interested. Give the coach a lot of credit. They did a nice job of orchestrating some quick throws for him early so he got completions. They moved the launch point of the pocket. In other words, they booted him some. Gave him some nice little throws. Throw it to the guy in the flat. If the guy in the flat's not open, there's one deeper coming across. Look for it. Just make a completion. He did that. He got in the flow. And then guess what? The running game picked up. Gurley looked like, Gurley's running now. It looked like this is an offense. Now, it's against the Raiders, and we can say what we want. Look, and if you're the Raiders, you got a little bit of concern, too, because this was a team that gave up 98 passes of 15 or more.
Right.
And here again, you watched them against the Rams. You watched them again last week, giving up big plays. They got an issue in the back end. They're not well coordinated in the back end. So, but Goff played well.
And looking at Jared Goff, how much, if you're a coach, especially this close to the start of the season, does it change your plans when you acquire a player like Sammy Watkins that they did in the trade, where all of a sudden your best offensive weapon outside of Todd Gurley had been Tavon Austin, who you paid wide receiver one money to, didn't necessarily give you that kind of production?
Well, you got a vertical guy now that when he breaks the huddle, your defense is going to have to, roll that way. I mean, you're going to have to understand where he's at, because he's one throw away from we receive, right?
Yeah.
Now, and they also got a tight end. This young tight end they like him as well. So they've got some pieces around. It's all about the offensive line. Can they protect him? We know they will move the pocket for him. That's one thing you can do with a young quarterback. We saw that in the preseason. This team's going to be kind of fun to watch if they can continue to build on this last game.
Well, we'll see where he goes, what Jared Goff does, as they try and build a fan base, there in L.A. with them
and the Chargers.
Chargers in Los Angeles.
Yeah. Music to my ears hearing Herm say it's all about the offensive line, though.
It really is.
Stop it.
Right?
No.
Are you a Game of Thrones guy?
Big Game of Thrones guy.
You didn't watch it, huh?
Don't say it.
Didn't watch it yet.
Straight Talk Wireless, nationwide coverage on America's largest, most dependable 4G LTE networks. You and I both watched it, and we can't say anything.
Can't say anything.
The young guy
I'm getting
didn't
to it later
Wait a
today.
minute. I'm going to give you one. I got to say one. I'll give you one. And it's bad. The bad guy's got a dragon, and I'll leave it at that.
Oh, wow.
Sports fans anywhere can earn a nationally recognized degree from Penn State. Online. Whether you're starting or finishing your degree, study where and when it's convenient for you. Choose from more than 125 programs to become a top prospect in your field and advance your career. Learn more at worldcampusinfo.com. Penn State World Campus, a world of possibilities. Online. Visit worldcampusinfo.com today. That's worldcampusinfo.com.
It's Mike and Mike. ESPN Radio and ESPN2. We're presented by Progressive Insurance, and all phone guests are going to join us in the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. We're going to have Bomani Jones coming up there at 7:30, but we got to do something.
You have to be sick right now. In one of the most unexpected things that has ever happened on this show in 18 years.
There was a better chance of Conor McGregor winning this fight this weekend than Herm Edwards being the one to spoil Game of Thrones for me.
I mean, And I get it. Listen, if you're talking about I would imagine the first one of the season and certainly the season finale, you better watch it live because you can talk about it the next day, right?
Those are marquee events. And you can argue, listen, I get, not to get too technical on Game of Thrones, but episode 9 of every season is always the big one. There's only 7 episodes this season. So last night was sort of the golden goose of the season.
It was.
That being said, you're usually allowing a 24-hour grace. I came in here this morning.
You did.
I told everyone. I told Herm. I said, I haven't watched it yet. Do me this kindness. I'm staying off Twitter. I'm staying off all social media in an effort to try and stay out of this. And Herm Edwards comes in and Twitter, we're not going to get a tweet about anything else this morning.
No, Twitter has blown. We are going to be trending Mike and Mike for the wrong reason. We did not know he was going to do that. Mike has not seen it. I saw it, but I'm not saying anything. No one is saying anything, and I get it. There's so many people around the country that will watch it sometime this week, if not today, for whatever reason, not seeing it
24 hours is at very least the grace period that we deal with.
I would agree with that. So, literally, they are counting us down in our ear. 10 seconds to go, and the segment is over. We're done for the hour, and Herm says, I'm just going to give you one thing, and I'm not even going to say it again.
We're not repeating this.
I am not going to say it again. Herm could not have given anything more away in the one line than he did.
Don't press send.
Herm pressed send on a verbal tweet.
Unreal. And then he just kind of walked out.
Like it was nothing. He said, I'm just going to give you one little thing. One little thing, Herm.
One little thing.
So, on behalf of Herm Edwards, if you were here for that segment, I want to issue an apology on behalf of the network. On behalf of everyone here.
The first tweets, Chris says, Herm breaking the rules of 24-hour spoilers. Love you, Coach, but darn it. Herm just violated all TV spoiler rules. Why did Herm do that? Well, that was the worst spoiler ever. It was. That was a horrific...
Because you've seen the episode. You know how integral what he said is.
I can't believe... He could not have said anything more spoilerish than that. He could have said anything else about the episode, which again went an extra 50. It was an hour and 15 minutes. And I just sat there at the end. Your sister, my daughter Sydney, was watching, and we were texting back and forth going, oh, my God. Oh, my God. I kind of saw it coming, but when you see it, you're like, you have got to be kidding me. And Herm just gave it away. We just gave it away.
We've been having fun with the solar eclipse this morning. We talked about the loss in workplace productivity, something like $700 million in workplace productivity.
Like a 20-minute time span today of the total eclipse.
Going to be lost because of the total eclipse. But generally, that's Monday with Game of Thrones. It's the ultimate water cooler. We heard it referenced in a lot of on Hard Knocks. A lot of the guys in the Bucs locker room talking Game of Thrones.
Well, did you see at the end of the last one, there was Gerald McCoy talking in front of one of the old linemen. I forget which one, and the old lineman was like, stop. Just stop talking. Don't say anymore. And McCoy wanted to kind of spit it out.
It was the end of the first episode, of Hard Knocks. And, so it's extremely popular. That's usually what derails workplace productivity on Monday morning. And I say this, I am legitimately rattled right now. Like, we're supposed to do a show here, and we had people during the break trying to get in my ear about what we're going to do. You wanted to figure out what we're going to do in this segment. I don't care. I'm lost. I'm lost amidst the sea of the spoiler hell that Herm Edwards dropped me into. So, listen, on behalf of the network, on behalf of everyone here in Mike and Mike, from the bottom of my heart, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the way that Herm Edwards, one of the first rules of journalism, and I'm not a big J journalist by any stretch of the imagination, didn't go to journalism school, but I know one of the first rules is do no harm, and we hurt a lot of people this morning. Herm hurt a lot of people with his words.
And Herm is such a lovable guy. Do you think he realizes what he did?
Herm Edwards, who has made a living telling rookies and guys going into the NFL to watch what they say on social media, to guard their words.
Don't press send.
To not press send. I'm not calling it talking anymore. It's verbal tweeting.
Yeah.
Herm pressed send on the most harmful verbal tweet of 2017, and I don't know how we're supposed to recover from this.
I don't know. I'm not going to lie. I'm still stunned. I mean, he literally did it when they were counting us out of the segment.
Herm should have to look into the eclipse today as penance for this. He should have to look directly into the eclipse and scourge his eyes, because that's what he's done to my soul. I'm going to go home and watch this later today. knowing full well what's going to happen now.
Yeah, you are, and I mean it's right at the end. I mean it is at the end. I
say no. Listen, don't wade further into the waters.
Don't
join him.
I just can't believe it.
Now I know when it happens. I know what happens.
Well, knowing what happens is way worse of when. I'm not going to lie. I'm stunned. You know what? Who I would have expected that out of? A millennial.
Yeah, listen, we're getting ready to read you. Business Insider this weekend came out with this article about how millennials are ruining everything. Millennials killing blank has been the go-to headline since millennials became a thing. Herm Edwards is worse than any millennial I've ever met. That's a cardinal sin of any generation. Herm Edwards is killing spoilers. Whatever generation you guys are, just killed Game of Thrones spoilers, you monsters. But millennials killing everything else. How about this Business Insider? Listen to this headline. Quote, psychologically scarred millennials are killing countless industries from napkins to Applebee's. Here are the businesses they like the least. Psychologically scarred.
I saw this. I saw this article because Greeny and I obviously are, now that he's 50, we're both in our 50s and certainly trying. Well, okay, yeah. Easy there, Bucko.
I'm just kidding. I know my mom's listening. Mom,
that's exactly right. You just called your mother old. You feel good about yourself?
I didn't do it.
Yeah, whatever. But I read this article and thought, okay, I thought it was an interesting conversation of, are you guys, you millennials, really killing these things?
And listen to the things that were listed of killing right now. Casual dining chains like Buffalo Wild Wings and Applebee's.
Now, are they saying you're killing it because you're not going to them? Is that the reason?
Here's where some of the inconsistencies start to pop up because... So they say we're killing chains like Applebee's because millennials are more likely to eat in the home. And yet in other places in this article, they talk about how millennials are more likely to go out to eat. Here, but post it in here. Post noted that millennials are more likely to eat meals out of the home, when at the same time, millennial consumers are also more attracted than their elders to cooking at home, which is what's killing Applebee's. So which is it? You guys don't know where millennials like to eat. That's become clear as the first point on this. You have no idea where we like to eat.
Well, this one hurt me the most when it said you guys are killing beer.
There's a 1% drop in penetration in the beer industry. That's not a good enough excuse to use the word penetration, but a 1% drop. How does that come even close to killing the beer industry? You guys are sensitive.
You're just so rattled by Herm right
Gen
now.
X snowflakes. Grow up.
You know how much 1% of beer consumption? That's a lot. That's a lot.
Oh, you know what? Grow up. I know plenty of millennials. I did a lot to support the beer industry this weekend.
Oh, I
did a lot
appreciate
to support
that.
it last night. Napkins. We're killing napkins. Which, listen, does anyone really like napkins all that much?
Not really.
Paper towels can accomplish everything. Like, paper towels, napkins against paper towels, that's you versus the guy she told you not to worry about. Worry about paper towels.
I like this one. Restaurant chains.
By the way, you're welcome for killing the term restaurant, which I didn't know was a thing.
I didn't either, quite honestly. But like chains like Hooters and Twin Peaks, a loss of interest. The number of Hooters locations in the U.S. dropped by more than 7% from 2012 to 2016. Sales have stagnated, so you guys are killing that. Way to go.
Again, you guys are welcome. Like, the term restaurant should not be a thing.
I'm not going to lie. I agree with
this
you on that one.
This is the one where, like, I got legitimately angry. I had a tweet stream going about this. Business Insider, look directly into my eyes. If you ever insinuate that millennials like myself are against cereal, I will find wherever your stupid headquarters is, and I'll fight everyone in your building. I will go in through video game boss style and battle everyone all the way up to the CEO, and then I'll kick crap out of him too, because this is an affront to everything I stand for as a man.
Yeah,
cereal.
I would hope you guys wouldn't kill cereal. It says cereal sales dropped 5% from 2009 to 2014, despite the fact that more Americans are eating breakfast more than ever before. Companies such as Kellogg and General Mills have reported their sales have stopped falling in 2017, so cereal may not be dead just yet.
How about this, too? They said younger consumers are turning to convenient options with minimal cleanup that can be eaten from the go, from yogurt to fast food breakfast sandwiches. Turn the page, about 3 pages. Millennials are killing yogurt, too. So which is it? Are we turning to yogurt? Are we killing yogurt? Are we a friend of yogurt? Are we a foe of yogurt?
It's just that you millennials can't make up your minds.
No, you guys just have no idea what you're looking at. You're staring down at this millennial wonder like we're some fancy jewel, which, by the way, I think we're also killing diamonds. Yeah, we're killing diamonds, too. So.
You know what else you're killing? The time-honored tradition. Now, you did this What did you text me? You were going. You're the godfather to one of the twins for Kyle and Jordan Rudolph, right?
Yeah, Kyle Rudolph, Minnesota Vikings tight end,
Yep.
has 2 twin daughters,
Right.
Anderson and Finn, and I am Anderson's godfather.
Do you need to say 2 twins or just twins?
Did I say 2 twins?
You said 2 twins, so that would be 2 sets of twins. They only have 1 set of twins, so they have twins, not 2 twins.
Are Gen Xers killing math?
You maybe are. So
No, you are killing.
So you were on your way to the christening, okay?
Yeah, the baptism.
The baptism. And what did you text to me?
Oh, I asked. I was getting ready. I was like 5 minutes from leaving, and I asked. I'm good with a polo for this, right? I can wear. I was actually gonna wear this shirt. This is gonna be my baptism shirt.
A polo.
I got
a baptism.
Got my baptizing polo on.
You're baptizing polo. You are going to go into the church and wear a polo shirt to a baptism.
Seems appropriate.
To which I immediately replied, "That's coat and tie," and you didn't believe me.
No, I thought you were joking at first because I figure most of the things that you say are said in jest and not meant to be taken seriously. And then Mom followed up with the text and said, "Oh yeah, this is coat and tie. This is a big deal."
To then there was a text from Mike that was 2 words, and I can't. The only one I can repeat is mother.
It was the same words I said during the break after Herm left.
Yeah.
Over and over again as I sobbed into my baptizing polo.
Yeah. So, and then you go to we tell you coat and tie, you go to the baptism, and what happened?
Well, I get there, and I'm conversing with the other men involved in this. Kyle, Nick Holmes, who's one of his high school friends, played some basketball at Bellarmine, but was a godparent to the other twin in this, Finn. And I said, "What are you guys wearing for this?" And they said, going to wear a button-down and a jacket, no tie, though. They were the ones that initiated the no-tie clause, and so I said, all right, in a show of solidarity, I'll go no tie with you guys.
Yeah, millennials killing ties. Millennials killing the wonderful coat and tie look at a baptism.
You do see it all over the network now. We've gone a little bit cash and everything. I've seen the fantasy marathon. I looked up, and I saw all of our professionals. I saw Trey. I saw Louis Riddick. I saw Shefty and co. all going without the tie. I said, all right, we've undone the top button a little bit here. We're letting our hair down, so
all right,
to speak.
so
Some
you
of
like
us
that, huh? Yeah, so I wasn't too keen on that whole situation, but it seems you guys are killing a lot. I'd like to discuss this more. Like you guys are killing golf as well, it seems.
Wait, can I golf. Listen to how they framed golf, though. I want to read you the exact quote on this. Golf. Let me find this. Millennials who have created new fitness crazes like SoulCycle and bar classes, golf has failed to capture their interest in the same manner. Are we trying to insinuate that golf is a fitness craze?
No, golf is not a fitness craze.
That seems to be the tie-in.
They're saying you're eschewing that for these other things.
Exactly, but that's like saying, I'm shooing out apples in favor of cake. Like, they're not related. They're not tangent industries. I'm not getting rid of one fruit for another.
But you're not doing golf because you're too busy doing the other stuff. So
exactly, but why?
I can eat an apple and a piece of cake.
Well, like, why not say, like, in lieu of golf, millennials are watching Netflix and changing their tires? Like, those things are just as related.
How many tires have you changed in your life?
2.
Have you really?
Yeah, the one where you taught me how to change a tire and then one other one on the side of the road.
Okay, how'd you do?
I did pretty well.
From me teaching you?
Yeah, fair teacher.
All right.
Yeah. Listen, coming together, millennials and old people.
Millennials are coachable. All right, so we're going to keep going on the whole millennial thing, how millennials are killing everything. But it seems that Magic Johnson taking over the Los Angeles Lakers may have gotten themselves, or he may have gotten them into a little bit of trouble. The NBA has opened an investigation on the Lakers, specifically Magic Johnson, for tampering related to Paul George. And as this is getting investigated, part of the probe involves Magic when he appeared in April on Jimmy Kimmel. Listen to what he had to say.
What constitutes tampering? Like if you're on vacation and you run into Paul George, are you not allowed to speak to him?
No, we're going to say hi because we know each other.
I see.
You just can't say, hey, I want you to come to the Lakers, even though I'm going to be winking like, you know what that means, right?
Oh, hey, wait, let's be ready. You know what that means? That means NBA investigation. That's what that means.
We're about to be tampering over here.
So
you best believe some tampering's going on. You know what I'm saying?
The NBA or the Pacers filed tampering charges with the NBA against the Lakers, and the league issued a statement Sunday saying that the probe is underway. And part of it is, the wink, you know what I'm saying, talk, to Jimmy Kimmel on what the discussion might be if he runs into Paul George on vacation.
By the way, the Pacers are some haters for this, right? Like, you lose your man.
You knew he was gone, right?
You know he's leaving. It's not even the team that he went to, and you're looking at crying foul on the Lakers right now. That's hating in its truest form. You understand that you're going to slip back to irrelevance probably if you're the Indiana Pacers, and you're looking out at L.A., and the Lakers are going to have this little revival, and Magic's making the Lakers purple and gold sexy again, and you're sitting over there bitter watching your ex and your ex's friend out here thriving, enjoying themselves.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Team officials, and this is the rule, team officials aren't allowed to make contact with players or their agents to discuss future plans unless it's after the opening of the players' free agency year on July 1st. Again, this appearance was Jimmy Kimmel was in April. The Pacers' charges represent a growing concern among many NBA teams that some potential suitors are reaching out to players and agents with 1 or 2 years left on their current deals, trying to manipulate opt-outs and trades, league sources have said. So you have teams with guys that want to move. You have guys that maybe – listen, it was basically said that that's where Paul George wanted to go. So sometimes it's the players initiating that, but the teams still aren't allowed to discuss that. We had Daryl Morey on, the GM of the Rockets, and we couldn't bring up the possibility when they were talking about Morey, the
French. Daryl Morey.
Morey, I went French on you. Yeah, that's what
Morey.
Morey. Morey. And we couldn't talk about the possibility of the Carmelo Anthony, the trade. We couldn't bring that up, or, you're going to get fined or some tampering charges. So, how easy can they figure this one out?
It is. Well, and with Daryl Morey, it's interesting because Magic's coming into this from the outside. And so he's coming at it from a place where he has relationships with a lot of these guys. Because we talk about, in a competitive sense, how much people dislike how friendly a lot of players are in the NBA and how much these guys are buddy-buddy with each other. They work out together in the offseason. They've played on Team USA together. But one of the things this opens you up to is sort of a strange place when it comes to this, because I know that teams can't reach out, but players can. That's why it was such a big deal when the Cavaliers said that LeBron James wasn't going to be actively reaching out to free agents this offseason, because we know, how are you going to stop these guys from just being friends and kind of talking about work together?
Yeah, you're not. They're going to, and it's happening more and more in the NBA. These guys are going to reach out and talk to one another. Wasn't it Draymond Green talking about his conversations with Kevin Durant, before Durant signed with Golden State? So players can do it all the time, but teams can't. I kind of get that. I mean, you don't want that happening. It's kind of like the, in college when the guy's going to have that fifth year, and you don't want, during that season, if a guy is a fifth year, you don't want a college coming in and talking to a player, right, while he's on another team saying, hey, your fifth year, why don't you come play for us? I mean, I kind of understand where it could, because it could be chaos if teams are allowed to do that.
And they mentioned it's a slippery slope to that place where all of a sudden this is a couple of years out, like it is for Paul George, like it would have been for Paul George had he stuck around there. Kyrie Irving might be an example of that now as a guy with a couple years left on his deal who's hinted at a trade, but it gets to be a really difficult thing. We talked about it as a joke, I remember, leading up in the NBA offseason, the legal tampering period that goes on, and what a farce that is at this point. So I don't understand how there's any coming back from this if you're the NBA.
Well, we're going to Adrian Wojnarowski, we'll get it for you and play it for you. He was going to talk about how difficult it is to actually prove tampering. But, boy, if they do, the world can come down on the Lakers a little bit to the point where they may not be allowed to sign Paul George if it gets going that bad. So
that would be a hell of a turn looking forward to the summer of 2018 where we hear about all these grand plans for a Lakers revival surrounding LeBron James.
Guys moving around. Completely agree. So a quick note before we get this break. Quick note about your mom, my wife.
At ND Mom out here on the trail.
Yep, she is on the trail. She's over 200 miles now into this 317-mile walk and run. It's, again, like that. 175th year anniversary of Notre Dame, the founding of it. Father Soren walked this final 317 miles from Vincennes, Indiana to South Bend, Indiana. They started last Sunday, and they go till this Saturday, of which I'm walking the last 3 miles, from mile 314 to 317. I will be walking it with your mother. From what I understand, those are the most grueling miles of the entire 317 miles that I am going to sacrifice myself.
To give people an idea, for most of the rest of this trip, they've been walking anywhere between 12 and 18 miles a day, and then adding on a 20-mile bike ride, usually, to that output. So you've got that going on right now, Mom putting in the legwork, and on the last day, when the media is going to be present, the finish line is in sight, and there's 3 miles to walk, you're going to swoop in and find yourself some of the shine. You feel good about yourself doing that?
Listen, I can't help who the media comes to and wants to get quotes from. I can't control them.
You can control your presence there. You can say, you know what? I don't want to make this about me. This is about my wife, Chris, my mom, the great work she's done. She's doing. She's taking donations right now. She's got a GoFundMe
yes.
page going for the South Bend Center for the Homeless.
Yes, at ND Mom on her Twitter feed there. You can and everybody has been fantastic. People donated. It's been great. So she's kind of turned this into a money raiser for that as well, which a lot of them have done. So it's pretty cool.
And so you could let that moment be about her, but instead it's going to be about you and how this has affected your life. All of the chores that you've had to do while she's gone, the slack that you've had to pick up at home.
I promise you, when I'm being interviewed by every outlet, I will mention her.
I hope so. I worry about you a little bit. Mike and Mike's presented by Progressive Insurance. Pick from a range of coverage options with the Name Your Price tool and find a price that works for you. Coming up next, Bomani Jones from The Right Time with Bomani Jones on the Lakers' alleged tampering and on the big fight this weekend after this word from Uber. And I can't believe how fast the year is going. The NFL regular season is almost here, and so are Major League Baseball's playoffs. I'm sure it reminds us all that summer job you took at a movie theater just so you could get some extra bucks to go to a ball game. But if it were me today, I'd drive with Uber.
Yep, and driving with Uber is a totally flexible way to earn. You can earn money for all things that matter to you just by using your own car. You work when you want. You take time off when you want. Nobody telling you when to turn on and off that app. That's why driving with Uber is the ultimate side hustle. You can make every day pay thanks to Uber's Instant Pay. So make the most of your summer and earn the extra cash when you want. Get your side hustle on. Sign up to drive with Uber today. Go to uber.com/drive now. That's uber.com/drive now. And Uber is uber.com/drive now. Certain restrictions do apply. Make sure you check out the website for all the details. We're back after this on Mike and Mike.
You're listening to Love Advice with Leanne. Caller, you're on the air.
Hi, Leanne. Long-time listener, first-time caller. Why, in your professional opinion, do you never take my calls off the air?
Is this Carl?
Yep, it's Carl. I mean, we had a few dates. Everything was great. I thought,
Well, when you switch to Geico, you could save a lot of money on car insurance.
Okay, awesome.
You should call them.
I will.
Geico, because saving 15% or more on car insurance is always a great answer.
We're presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Like our next guest, the host of The Right Time with Bomani Jones. Bomani Jones joins us now on that Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Morning, Bo. How you doing?
Morning, gentlemen. How are you?
Well, we have to ask first. Now, we know you don't watch Game of Thrones, but Herm Edwards, right at the end of the first hour of this show, I mean, you've had, obviously, with TV, have people counting you down in your ear on when you have to go to break. Bo, they are literally counting us down 5, 4, 3, and everybody knew that Mike hadn't seen it, and there were no spoilers, and Herm said, I'm just going to give you one thing, and he gave the biggest spoiler known to mankind it blew up Twitter. We're trending for all the wrong reasons right now, and while I know you don't watch Game of Thrones, what is your view on blowing up that spoiler alert, how much time there should be?
I mean, I try to be courteous and have an understanding. Like, I'm generally about giving you 24 hours on one of these television programs. After a while, you need to get on your grind and go watch it. But I feel bad for the young Golic because you had to wake up, at like 3 o'clock in the morning to get there on time for work, right? Like, you couldn't watch that show last night. You had places to be. Herm did you dirty, Mike. Herm did you dirty.
I'm trying to recover as best I can and be professional throughout this interview, Bo. So we'll try and do right by you on this one, even though Herm couldn't do right by me. And coming off the weekend in much more serious news, we saw Derek Carr place his hand on Khalil Mack's shoulder as a show of support during the anthem. We saw Justin Britt do the same thing not too long ago with his teammate Michael Bennett. Chris Long was really the first on this. How significant were those two moments, and especially the one involving a white quarterback in this league, and Derek Carr?
Well, yeah, I thought it was very significant when Chris Long did it, if for no other reason than to stand there and there be some level of demonstration that this is a cause that involves all people when you really get down to it, assuming you have a broad concern for humanity. And so I think there's something cool about seeing other guys take this same step. And I think it does matter with Derek Carr because quarterbacks are in a different place on the hierarchy on these things. The only thing that I worry about, and I know that this is something that Chris was worried about, is these stories start becoming a bit too much about the benevolent white guys who were there as opposed to the cause itself. So it's like, oh, cool, look at this guy standing there with him. But standing there means some things that are a bit more impactful than just putting your hand on your teammate's shoulder. But I think that there is an importance to the fact that people, if I talk about these sorts of issues, there's a whole lot of people that'll roll their eyes who are far more inclined to listen if they hear this from Derek Carr. So I would like to see from Derek Carr and others, don't just put your arm on the man's shoulder, start talking about these same matters, and that's when you get the impact that we're looking for.
So that's the question. Do you think it'll get there? We just saw the NYPD. They had a rally in backing Colin Kaepernick and what he was talking about and standing for. And that's exactly where I was going to go with you about what Mike just mentioned is, are we losing the message in all of this? And so what needs to be carried forward by these players?
I'll tell you, what I would like to see as much as anything else, because Michael Bennett, for example, is pretty well articulated where he's coming from on these matters. What I would like to see ideally is someone more in line with Chris Long, with Derek Carr, with Justin Britt, who is able to do the same thing. Because again, I think it's cool for them to say, hey man, I got you back. You're my teammate. I'm in this same place as you know, I'm in this with you. But what are you in? And I think that the things start changing when those people who are now standing to the side can also help to articulate what is going on in the situation. But I also think, and I appreciate those guys who are doing that, who are taking the care to recognize that while this is not entirely their fault and they wish to be allies on this matter, that it can't just be about, hey, look what a great dude I am for putting my hand on this guy's shoulder. It can't be that. That's a disservice to what they're doing and to the guys they're standing next to.
Yeah, I think that was what interested me when Derek Carr came out after and said that this isn't a protest, this isn't what it's about, because that, in my mind, has been exactly what this has been about. And going back to Colin Kaepernick, who originated this all, we know the first guy through the wall is always going to take a lot of the shrapnel, but Bomani, is any of this stuff, any of these proceedings and the way that this has evolved help Colin Kaepernick's chances in getting a roster spot in your mind?
No, I think that horse has left the barn. I think that the people who make these sorts of decisions have decided that Kaepernick is not going to get a job. Like, I just don't think that it's coming around on the other end of it. I think these guys who are doing this now are in a safer place than Colin was on this, because unlike them, Colin never asked for permission or never received it. After Colin did what he did, the league basically realized, I feel like they talked to the lawyers and were like, well, you know, there's nothing really we can do to stop this. And so we saw all these different teams who said, hey, if you want to do this, then we are okay with it. And then these guys have done it. Colin did not ask if it was okay. He just went ahead and did it. And that's the thing that tends to make people mad as much as anything else, the audacity to do something like that without permission.
Over to the NBA, Mike and I just brought up the fact that the Lakers are being charged with tampering by the Pacers in talking to Paul George. Some of it stems from a Jimmy Kimmel appearance by Magic Johnson saying about if he says Paul George that he can't say anything to him but a wink, wink, you know what that might mean, kind of a conversation. How hard do you think this will be to prove? And if they do, how hard do you think they hit the Lakers?
Oh, it'll be borderline impossible to prove, man. I mean, tampering is such a thing in the league and all your various seasons that it is, I mean, they would shut down a whole lot more people for tampering if they could. I'm surprised in a way, though, that the Pacers have done this, because by and large, NBA teams kind of leave this alone because, you know, for the grace of God, there goes I. There are a whole lot of teams that engage in this sort of behavior. It's kind of how NCAA schools don't really snitch on each other because everybody's out here, you know, performing some level of dirt. I do think, though, because it's Magic and the name is so big that somebody coming after them, the league is going to look. They're going to at the least pay their lip service. I think probe is going to wind up being too extreme of a measure, but I don't think anything is really going to happen in this situation. I'm surprised by it, if for no other reason, that Paul George doesn't play for the Pacers anymore. Like, how petty are we getting right now?
This is my exact point before. This seems a little bit bitter on the part of the Pacers, looking out, watching everyone else shine. And Bomani, we're 5 days away from the Floyd Mayweather-Conor McGregor fight. Let's say lightning strikes twice in the same spot and we have a moon landing and all these different things happen at once and McGregor actually wins this fight. What's the impact in your mind on the world of boxing and just in general?
No, I mean, if McGregor were to win this fight, we could basically, like, close the doors on boxing. Like, this would be the biggest upset in sports that any of us have witnessed if McGregor were to win this fight. And I don't think we talk about it in those terms because that's such a fact that none of us are even really entertaining the possibility that McGregor has a chance to win this fight. So, like, if he were to win it, oh, boy, it would be big. And I would also say, once again, I am not convinced that the world is able to handle this clown show, and that was before all the craziness in the world of the last week and change. Everybody, can we please just behave ourselves when we go out for this fight? Because this fight is happening on my birthday, and they're ruining my birthday already by jacking up the cover charge any place that I might want to go because they're going to be showing this damn fight. Please, guys, love one another as we are out watching this fight.
Are you buying the fight? Are you getting the fight?
I will probably wind up somewhere that has the fight. I can't give either of these clowns my money, man. Like, there's a line that I just have to draw. Like, we don't even think this is going to be a good fight. None of us think it's going to be a good fight. It is just pure spectacle, and we have fallen for it. This is the great white hype come to life.
Speaking of hype, speaking of spectacle, any interest at all in the Eclipse coming up today?
You know, I've heard about this Eclipse. I didn't realize that it was actually going to be today. What time is it going to happen?
Well, it depends on where you are. I mean, here in Connecticut, the full eclipse will be at about 2:45. There's an app you can put your zip code in, and it'll tell you all about it. You don't seem like you care too much.
I think I'll check it out. That sounds like the sort of thing. I don't really get caught up in these like celestial activities in this sort of way. But yeah, I'll give it a look.
Let me ask you a question. If you happen to decide to look at it and you walk outside, what will you have to do before you look up at the eclipse? Do you know what you need to do? To not, you know,
they out here selling these cockamamie glasses. I saw somebody say something about how you could like take a selfie and then you don't actually have to look at the sun. I just think I'll turn on the last track on Dark Side of the Moon and try to make a whole situation out of it. You know what I mean?
There you go. All right, I can get down. I can get down with that. Make an event out of it. Bomani, we appreciate the time as always, man. Enjoy the eclipse in your own special way today.
I got to go to work, man. I ain't no astronomer.
You can check him out on The Right Time with Bomani Jones everywhere on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. It's 2:44 in New York where you are, by the way, Bomani.
Okay,
so you can check it out there at that time. And I know he's excited about that.
Oh, my gosh.
Make an event. Hey, listen, Mike Malarkey's turning on some music for the guys. Bomani just has his track.
Are you going to go? I'm going to go out and watch.
Hell yeah.
Now, here's the thing. I don't have any glasses yet. Do you have to get these special, or can you wear like a...
They said you can put like a small hole in a cereal box and just look through that.
What?
Yeah.
Who told you that?
Ray.
And you believe him?
He claims there's more to it than that. We'll get to the bottom of that information coming up next. Also, what's in a name? A whole lot of irony. You can tweet us about anything.
Yeah.
About all the sports topics, about the eclipse, but no one really seems to care about any of those things on our Twitter feed anymore.
If you search Herm Edwards right now...
Oh, yeah. It's ugly.
Some bad things are going to come up. Again, we've apologized for it. At the end of the first hour, at about 6:53 Eastern time this morning, Herm Edwards, who watches Game of Thrones, saw the episode last night. I saw the episode last night. A few people in here who watch it did not, including you. And
I made it known. It wasn't like I came in and was just lurking around expecting people to respect it out of nowhere. I made a show, and I said, listen, I didn't get to see it at a John Mayer concert last night. Great show, John. You were incredible.
Yeah.
Really appreciate the time.
Sure.
But because of that and because I had to get up early to do the show, I decided, all right, I'll sleep. I'll come in well rested. I'll do the show. I'll stay off Twitter. I'll stay off social media. I'll alert the staff, and I'll basically vacuum seal myself in the studio. So the only people that could ruin the show, I thought, were the show staff and you who watch it. Never in a million years. I thought that Conor McGregor would have a better chance of beating Floyd Mayweather and becoming president the next day than I would have Herm Edwards spoiling Game of Thrones. And yet not only did he come in and just throw out some detail, but with 5 seconds left before the heart out, gave away the most crucial plot element of last night's episode.
I'm not going to lie. I was stunned. I mean, in our ear, we were actually getting counted down. It's a heart out. We're leaving the air.
Done. We're so close.
At this time. And Herm said, I'm just going to give you one thing. And I thought he was going to pick something obscure because it was an extra 15 minutes last night. One little obscure thing.
Arya trips over a pebble. Needle gets a chip in it.
And he laid out one of the most amazing things that has ever happened in Game of Thrones. One of the most amazing things. And he did it. And we went to break, and we were all sitting here, mouth slung down, our jaws hitting the ground, and he acted like he didn't do anything wrong. He acted like he gave some little tidbit
Herm has no idea
and you
what
love,
he's done.
And you love Herm so much, you know, you wanted to throttle him at that point, but it's Herm. You're not going to do that to Herm.
Walking out, he really had no idea that he has ruined my day.
No.
And the days of many other people.
Many people. He really doesn't. He really had no idea. He crushed everybody on that one.
Max Bretos, who you see on SportsCenter all the time, said me and Herm have some heat right now. Michelle Beadle tweeted me and said she was in a hotel gym and snorted loudly, realizing the incredible error that Herm had been a part of. This has to be inside this building. Like you said, Herm, likable guy, don't press send, all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
This has to be the most hated Herm has ever been in this building.
I would agree with that.
Hate is a strong word, and I use it here, I think, pretty appropriately.
I don't think there is any doubt. He's hated more than probably even Giant fans who hated him for Miracle of the Meadowlands.
Honestly.
he's hated more. He's hated more for this.
He's found a way to update that hateable resume.
I'm still stunned.
Mr. Don't press send. Mr. Be careful with the information that you're putting out into the world. Maybe take a little bit of your own advice, Herm.
Yeah, and again,
one time.
We will not say what he said
No.
because that would be continuing to spoil it for new people as they're joining the show.
A series-defining spoiler. You monster.
There's one more episode, right?
One more episode in this season.
So you knew last night was going to be a big one.
Yes, of course.
I've seen every show of this, and I love the series. This was one of the more amazing things that I saw as well. And he just laid it out there.
I mean, knowing what's happened, it's something that, again, you know, I'm not even going to go down the thought process road here because I don't want to even come close to spoiling this for people. But this is a series-defining type move that Herm just tossed out there. All willy-nilly. Just, hey, go ahead. Sure.
All right, let me take your mind off that. Let's talk about
let's do something.
Let's talk about a bowl game. Okay?
Sure. Whatever.
We have bowl games. We're not even started the college season, but we have a million bowl games at the end of the season. And not shockingly, it happens every year. Bowl games, the names of them change. All right? And we have a bowl game name change. The St. Petersburg Bowl. Okay? Pretty simple name, right?
Oh, yeah.
Has been renamed after picking up a new sponsor. It is now called the Bad Boy Mowers Gasparilla Bowl. The Bad Boy Mowers Gasparilla Bowl. So
Bad Boy
Mower. So it's about mow. It's a lawnmower.
Bad Boy.
Okay? Bad Boy Mowers Gasparilla Bowl. The game is played at St. Petersburg on a field that is artificial turf.
Drenched in irony.
Drenched, right?
Can certainly appreciate that irony. I'm immediately drawn to Bad Boy, though. As a 90s child, the Bad Boy nostalgia.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's P. Diddy anymore, if he's gone back to Puffy, wherever he falls in this line. If he's not somehow involved in the promotion for this game, we've all failed. As a society, we've failed.
I would agree with that. Yeah, I would absolutely agree with that. Bad Boy Mowers Gasparilla Bowl.
As we continue, I feel like we need to lean into this now. Like, we've started to see these bowl games co-opt some ridiculous names because of the sponsorship. Let's just take this all the way.
You and I have both been involved in bowl games. What kind of swag are you getting for that one?
I don't know. Hopefully.